Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's January 17th, 2016, and this week we're going to do a lesson on soloing to the chord. And this week's question was sent in from TK. He's out in Henderson, Nevada, and he wrote in with this email. I've read that many top musicians will follow more of a jazz player's approach when performing melodies and where they are soloing to the chords. I'm curious as to how this works. I'm thinking that the chord tones are basically followed when the melody is created, but I'm at a loss as to how that works. Could you explain this in a lesson? I'd like to know more about it. From TK in Henderson, Nevada, USA. Well, thanks for writing in, TK. The idea of soloing to the chords is what is also sometimes called soloing with the chords or chord tone targeting. Overall, it's an excellent concept to study. You know, this is basically when the melodies we create will actually target the chord tones of a chord located at the very moment when we're performing our lines. Now, for example, if the chord of the moment happened to be A minor, we're going and covering that chord with A, C, and E. And that's going to be heard from within that chord, and it's called using the chord tones. And, you know, if we were to perform a melodic idea that incorporated these specific tones or one of those specific tones more than any of the other diatonic tones related to the overall key center, this is basically playing into that chord. Now, obviously, this is easier said than done in most cases. And so in this lesson, I'll be offering up a few tips that should help give you the ability to go into an exercise that'll help make all of this start to fit together easier for you. I'll tell you, it's not going to be that easy to do, but if you practice this method that I've got for you in this video, it's going to really help get you started in the direction that you need to go to help you get going on doing this. So let's zoom in on the neck and get started with the system. Well, if we're going to study soloing into chords, we're obviously going to need a chord to do that with. So let's get things started by playing through a simplified version of a standard open position G major chord. We're going to simplify it because we're not going to do the standard grip on the G chord, which is having the ring and the middle finger with the small finger up on top like that. We're not going to do that voicing and fingering. We're going to instead just focus on the low G tone and then into the fourth open, third open, and second open strings. And just let it ring out. So, and we'll just be repeating that. Keeping it really basic, just arpeggiating through it. But everything is there for the G major chord. We've got the G and the D and the B tone. So the G, B, and D are all there, the root third and fifth. And now that we have that, the next step to take is we're going to isolate the different chord tones of this G major chord. And it's at this point where things can become problematic, because if your knowledge of chord tones is poor, if you have no idea, when it comes to key signatures or intervals or any of the basic music theory concepts like that, you've got a problem at this point. You cannot solo into a chord if you don't even know what the notes are of the chord. So if you need help here, you can research it on your own. I've got a bunch of YouTube videos, both here on the Guitar Blog Update channel and then also on the Creative Guitar Studio YouTube channel as well. They're kind of spread out all over the place. There's some focus on this material too in the creativeguitarstudio.com website. If you go under music theory, there's some breakdowns about it as well. But if you really want to dig into the stuff, go and pick up, I have a 5-part music theory course. It's on my website on creativeguitarstudio.com. Just go into the members area where the products are. Each chapter of that program, it isolates the material. So there's a full chapter getting you going on intervals, and then on building all your different kinds of triad chords, and then it just goes further and further from there. And it'll really help you get a better understanding for all this stuff. There's written work in there. There's a dedicated answer key with all the answers, and there's even MP3 audio course component to that for each chapter where I just talk through it. You can listen to that over and over again on your phone or your iPod or whatever. So if you really want to learn this stuff and properly understand it so that you can use it, check out that music theory course of mine. It's really helpful. Now, anyway, in my first melodic line, I'll be targeting just the root of the G major chord, which is, of course, G. I'll use the G on the second string over on the 8th fret. Now I'm sure that you know there's a G on the 3rd fret of 1st string, and there's open 3rd string G. There's even G, of course, on the 4th string 5th fret. But the one we're going to use is just going to be this one here at 8th fret, and the line is really straightforward. I'm just again with this idea, I'm trying to come into the line and end the line upon that root tone of the chord, and the line sounds like this. So it's really simple. We have the G starting the line off. It pedals off of that E there, and then it does a slide from D to E, leading up into this G tone one last time. So that's what it sounds like on its own. The G major arpeggiated chord that we started with there, I have that outline on the loop pedal. I just played it a moment ago, but I'm gonna fire that up on the loop pedal and give you a chance to hear what this melodic statement sounds like under that chord. So here's the chord, and here's the line. All right, so you get a chance to hear exactly how the chord tone is the root that we're moving into. So with the G being the root of the chord, we're going into that tonal center that's the tonic of the scale, and at the same time, it's the root of the chord, so it's very strong. So work on that initially when you first are trying to do this idea, because it's going to be the easiest way to have your ear flow towards the tonal center. But we're going to come back in just a moment, and we're going to go and see what it can be like to target the 3rd chord tone. Okay, in the next example I have, we're going to focus on the G major's 3rd chord tone, which is a B. Now keep in mind that this study of soloing into chords, you need to, when you're doing it, you need to both be fully aware of the chord tones and know exactly on the neck where you're going to want to target those tones, as well as how you're going to go around constructing lines and point from beginning to end of the melody. So there's some background work that you need to understand theoretically, and then there's some guitar fingerboard concepts that you need to really have under your fingertips as well. So you want to be able to highlight specific chord tones and practice this as a concept in the beginning, but then later you want to really be having it something more natural that your ears will gravitate toward. It's simply the process of becoming super conscious about what's going on, how it all operates, and then just like even playing a scale, in the beginning you're really focused and conscious about exactly how that scale layout operates, but then later it just becomes second nature. Like I can talk to you and I can play this scale, and my conscious mind isn't on playing it. I'm actually just thinking about what I'm going to say when I'm talking to you. But this is the same kind of thing when you're doing chord tone targeting and this idea of playing and soloing into chords. Now, in the next demonstration here for the lead melody line that I have for you, I'm going to be choosing the B tone. It's going to be, of course, the major third of the G chord. So we're going to use it, though, up a little bit higher up here. We're going to be on the 12th fret of the 2nd string, and that's going to be our target. And now, so what's going to happen is we're going to lead into that, and then we're going to end on that. So here's how the line sounds. So that's our target as the B there, and we're really leaning into it, obviously. All right, so what I'm going to do next is fire up that loop pedal so you can hear that G thing going on in the background, and I'm just going to play this line around it. So here we go. So it's, when you're working on chord tone targeting, it's really all about going into the tone that you're looking for, building the line into it, and really pointing at it so that it becomes something extremely relevant in the sound of the melody line. Now, of course, this kind of work is really isolated. It may seem kind of, monotonous, just picking a tone, figuring out some kind of riff to play into it, and then doing it over and over. But, after a while, your ear really does gravitate into these sounds, and you'll be able to hear this stuff stuff. It just takes time and, of course, practice. So we'll take a quick break here, come back in a moment, and we're going to take a look at that fifth chord tone of the G major chord, the D tone. So let's do that next. Well, in my last soloing into chords demonstration of a melodic line, I'll be targeting into the fifth chord tone of the G major chord, which is the tone of D. Now, once again, as you've seen me do twice previously here, I want that chord tone to be both upfront and be the resolve point of the melodic statement. This is really going to cause the chord tone to jump out at the listener. It'll highlight it so that they totally grasp that sound, and they'll know that the D tone is the focal point of the melodic phrase. So first of all, here's how this idea sounds I came up with. It goes like this. Here's again. And, what's really interesting to me is that fifth seems to be, just personally, one of my favorite, resolve tones. I just really like the fifth, the sound of it. I don't know whether, it just has a really great connection. I'm used to it in the relationship off of a root of a chord. But to me, I just really like that sound. It's got a great sound to resolve to. So what I'd like to do next is fire up the loop and get that, chord. We have the G chord in the background, and have you, get a chance to hear what this line sounds like under the G chord. So here we go. So hopefully you can kind of hear that too. That D, in this case, off that G, the fifth, it's a great sound. It's just I don't know why, for me personally, it's just one of my favorite sounds for sure. So there you go. There's all of them. I ran through the root. I did the major third and the G chord, of course, and then I did the fifth. And this would be the exercise that I would suggest that you do for a while. And, do it for quite some time. You do it with a whole bunch of different chords. We did it here with G, but maybe try with a B flat, later try it with, D minor or something. Just go through all these chords that you can think of. You have popular chords that you use every day in music, and just start, busting them apart, finding the root, third and fifth, and then, targeting into them. It, may take a while to move through a lot of chords, but over the process of practicing this, your ear is just going to get better and better, and it'll become more, ingrained within you, and it'll be second nature after a while, where you'll just, hear those chord tones. Your fingers will just, zip right over into them, and you'll be ripping out all kinds of great stuff that's really targeted into the chord tones. Well, when we play melodies on our guitars, in the early days of learning how to improvise, there's a fairly heavy reliance upon the scale shapes and how patterns look on our guitar neck. But even though we can actually go a fair ways by just memorizing scale outlines and fretboard shapes that, quote unquote, sound good, there's definitely more to it than that. When we learn how to target specific tones of a chord, and when, we work toward highlighting, the roots, thirds, and fifths of any chord being performed at the moment, we end up creating really strong melodies that will connect in solid ways with our listener. So use this method that I have shown in this lesson to slowly learn chord tones. It'll eventually become second nature to you, and your solos will sound great over time when you can do this method easily at any point that you would like. But anyway, that's all the time that I have for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and if at all possible, consider a small donation to help fund the Guitar Lessons project here. Otherwise, have yourself a great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now. I'd like to take a moment to mention another guitar video lesson project I've started. It's a unique guitar lesson approach that I'm doing online, and it's not like anything I've done before. Best of all, it's 100% free. I've called this approach Guitar Micro Lessons, and they're a great way to learn a few new licks or riffs or chord shapes each week. Now, these Guitar Micro Lessons are quick and easy to learn from. They're very short, with each lesson running between only 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes in length. They're published to YouTube from Monday to Thursday on my other Guitar Blog Update YouTube channel, and you can either subscribe to that channel to guarantee getting each new episode, or just visit the channel whenever it's convenient for you and check out the new micro lessons in the playlist on the Guitar Blog Update channel's homepage. If you're interested in learning faster, making better use of your time, and practicing longer, the Accelerating Your Learning Curve ebook is for you. Over 60 pages of information on how to take control of both the way you learn and the time that you devote to your practicing. Accelerating Your Learning Curve is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com.